big point, like the big picture point is I want to kind of highlight these early running backs and why I've liked to take a couple of them. But the player take is don't overthink it with Chase Brown. Daigle, which maybe I'm talking to nobody here, or maybe you disagree with me on this, and if you do, I'd love to hear it. But I thought there'd be more kind of like hesitancy on Chase Brown, and maybe I'm just listening to smart people. I don't know, but to me, he just looks locked in as a guy that is a top 12 running back this year. You know, somebody that I think passed the test with flying colors. I've mentioned this on the show before. Being at the combine, there is a part of me that hears the quote from Zach Taylor that I've mentioned on the show before, where he was talking about, yeah, we don't want to have Chase Brown on the field for every single snap like we did last year. We want to get somebody to run in tandem with him. Well, actions speak louder than words, buddy. They have not brought in anybody that I think is like a real threat to Chase Brown at all. In fact, they have got guys that can be like true snap eaters. Like Samaje Perine is a snap eater, but he's not going to dig into the rushing work share or significantly into the passing game work share for a guy like Chase Brown. You know, Taj Brooks is a rookie running back that people really like, but he is a 6th round rookie running back. You know, he would have to, I think, really outkick expectations to be a threat to Chase Brown. And it just sounds like, again, the quote from offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher that they're committed to, by the end of the season, Chase Brown is going to be a household name. I think that is true as well. So he's kind of not the last guy in the tier of running backs where, you know, it's the group that you talked about earlier, like those kind of end of the first round, you know, early second round type guys. But then the tier of like Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, like I think Chase Brown fits right into that group. And while he doesn't have necessarily the name value of some of those players, he plays in a great offense. He's got passing down work. Like, again, he just checks so many boxes. So I know sometimes we get hung up on these like day 3 flash in the pan running backs. I don't think Chase Brown is one of those guys. He's somebody that, to me, like I said, is locked in as a top 12 back this year.
Even in the high stake drafts in other formats I'm doing right now, I'll always take Chase Brown at the top in the 3rd round when it comes back to me. And that's ahead of James Cook, Breece Hall. And I just don't think he's going to be treated like that in home leagues. But remember, touches are the skeleton key for fantasy football for running backs. It's just a matter of us doing our job and projecting for those touches. But Chase Brown last year was unlocked because he got every single touch, played every single snap, ran every single route. And they brought, to your point, no one in to compete with him. He's someone that I was ready to come into the regular season and be lower on based on competition. But all we have is a good 6th round player in Taj Brooks who excels in pass catching. But again, that's just a 6th round rookie. That's not someone we should be scared of for Chase Brown's value. So I think he's going to go right back to that 5.5 targets, 24 touches per game that he averaged to close the year last season without Zach Moss. And he is, as you said, such a tremendous value to open the 3rd round.
Yeah, shoot. Like, that's the thing is, if he's an 18 touch a game, like if he comes off of some of those touches because he's just getting a breather or whatever, he could still be well worth a 3rd round pick because he plays for the damn Bengals. Like, they're going to score a lot of points. Like, yeah, those guys like Breece Hall or Chuba Hubbard, who I like in that range, they're just not playing for offenses that are at the level of the Cincinnati Bengals. So, yeah, man, I really like Chase Brown a lot. He's somebody that I'm agreeing with you that I think that I came into this process being like, well, you know, he might be kind of overvalued as a former day 3 back that the team's not that committed to. Well, they've shown a level of commitment to him over the course of this year, and I think he's earned that too. Like, it's not as if he was the only guy out there. I think he really, he's a guy I liked a lot last year, and he was somebody that just played really, really well over the course of the year. So, yeah, man, Chase Brown, like, this is what I'm saying. You take a Derrick Henry in the 2nd round in kind of that range. You take, or in the 1st round, you take one of those wide receivers we're talking about, 2nd round picks. If you can somehow get Chase Brown in that 3rd round there, you've started off with 2 potential running back ones and a wide receiver, any of those guys, not just Brian Thomas Jr., but any of those guys that could be the wide receiver 1 overall. That's a way to build a hell of a team there.